Hey everyone, I will begin my part by talking about the main type of migration. This slide shows the six most common type people experience around the world, which are internal migration, international migration, voluntary migration, forced migration, permanent migration, and finally temporary migration. Let's start by talking about internal versus international migration. Let's start simple. Internal migration means moving inside the same country, like people in India moving from small villages to big cities like Delhi. International migrations means moving to a different country, like people from Syria moving to Germany. International migrants face problems like low pay, small homes, and long hours. International migrants have even more challenges: new language, hard rules, and sometimes racism. For an example, a family in Gaza might first move inside their area, then later go to Egypt. A Syrian doctor in Germany might have to study again to get his job. A worker from Bangladesh in the UAE might have to wait years for a work visa. So it's not only about moving, it's about safety, rules, and respect. Now let's talk about voluntary versus forced migration. Some people move by choice. Some people move because they have to. Voluntary migration is when people choose to go, like nurse from the Philippines coming to UK. On the other hand, forced migration is when people leave because of war or danger, like families from Syria or Sudan leaving to stay alive. Around 13 million Syrians had to leave since 2011. In 1948, over 700,000 Palestinians lost their home and many still lived in camps. Now think about people from India moving to Canada for a job. That's by choice. They plan and apply. But forced migrants don't plan, they run. Ukraine refugees were held by Europe, but other like Afghan refugees still live in poor camps. Voluntary migrants send money home. Forced migrants send stories of pain. Now let's look at the difference between permanent and temporary migration. Permanent migrations means someone moving to a new country to stay there for a long time, maybe forever. It could be for a better job, to join a family, or to become a citizen. For example, a family moving from India to Canada to settle there permanently. On the other hand, temporary migration means a person is planning to return home after a short time. This could be for a work contract, university, or even training, like a student going to UK for 2 years to study and then coming back home. So the big difference here is how long they stay and whether they want to make the new country their home or not. Now, what is acculturation? Acculturation means mixing your old culture with new one. Imagine a young man from Afghanistan living in the Netherlands. He speaks Dutch at school but dreams in Pishto at night. He misses his country food but tries Dutch fries. He listens to both Afghan music and pop music. For an example, in Palestine, a grandma tells stories from the past while her grandchild teaches her how to use Zoom. Another example is in refugee camps, kids draw pictures of their old homes. And final example is in United States, young Palestinians still hold keys from their grandparents' house. So culture doesn't die, it grows and changes. Acculturation is about adapting without losing your soul. Now let's talk about strategies of acculturation by Barry's model. When people move, they adjust in four ways. Integration is the best result. For example, a Syrian doctor in Germany fasts in Ramadan but also follows German rules. Assimilation is losing your old culture. For example, a Palestinian child in the United States may stop speaking Arabic to fit in. Separation is staying only with your own people. For an example, an old person from Sudan may stay in their own area, speak only their own language. Marginalization is feeling lost in both cultures. For an example, some refugees are not accepted anywhere. No home, no help from new countries they migrate to. So, hope, yes, in Sweden, refugees started schools that teach both their language and the new language. So, true success happens when both migrants and the country tries to understand each other. Why migration matters, real world effects, and economical impact. Immigrations, Immigrants help countries grow. In Germany, refugees help during COVID in hospitals. In the UAE, most workers are from other countries. They send money back home, about $150 billion a year. Can you imagine that? Let's look at some facts. Farms in the United States needs immigrants worker to pick fruits. In the United Kingdom, immigrant pays more tax than they use. Many big companies in America were started by immigrants. Even people from Palestine or Syria started shops and tech companies in places like Jordan and Turkey. So immigrants don't take jobs, they create them. Why migration matters, social and human impact. Migration also changes culture and life. Syrian chef in Turkey brought back their special food. Teachers in refugee camps in Jordan still teach poems and stories. Ethiopian cafes is now loved in cities like London. But it's not more than food. But it's not. I mean, it's. I mean, it's not only about food. It's about human right. Canada accepted 50,000 Syrian refugees, not just to help, but because it was fair. But in Lebanon, many Palestinian refugees can't work or own a house. Even migrant stories matter. They deserve respect, guys. So finally, I would like to end my part by these words. We are a nation of immigrants. That's our strength. Barack Obama. This is true for many countries, not just United States. Syria, Sudan, and Afghans leave wars and rebuild. Palestinians still remember the home they lost. Many African and Asian families have moved and helped build cities all over the world. Right now, one in every 30 people in the world is a migrant. Most refugees don't go to rich countries, they stay in nearby places like Jordan, Bangladesh, and Uganda. Even food remind us of migration. Shawarma in Berlin, makhlouba in United States, and noodles in United Kingdom. So we must ask, do we build walls or do we build bridges? A Syrian refugee becoming a nurse in Canada, that's a strength. A Palestinian starting a company in the United States, that's a progress. By 2050, climate change may force over 1 billion people to move. 1 billion people. Will we welcome them or turn them away? The next time you see a refugee on TV, don't see weakness, see future leaders. Thank you.